You're live.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the Gravity Max live stream. This is the Chill Den, and this is a D chord, I think. It's a little off. But point in case I'm a musician, I got a guitar, I have sunglasses on, that means I know what I'm doing. This is a G chord. Don't you feel soothed? I feel soothed. Let's try something crazy. Let's go for an A chord. Here we go. You ready?
Ooh.
You can already feel that meditative music, can't you? Check this out. E minor. That's real nice.
Yep. So welcome to the stream.
Yeah, welcome to the stream. We don't need this anymore. I'm gonna go throw this
What's
down
going on, guys?
over to the case, and I will cut my camera so you can't see what's behind me. That will forever remain a mystery.
Yep. So, we already have chat, Emra says, I love this title. Yes. Today we are talking about benevolent fictional characters who possess talents that are beyond the natural scope of human capabilities. So, it's fun. We're going to talk about that. Little quick topic here, and then just some discussion about an interesting thing. Today we are here with Michael, and he is the source of said interesting thing. Should we keep it a surprise until the end?
Yes.
Yeah, let's just say that our good friend, Michael McCarthy, aka Jam, has come into the possession of some strange abilities. But we'll get more into that a little later.
Exactly. Yes. So, let's get started with the plugs.
Let's get right into it.
Visit the Gravity Max website.
It's capturing my cursor! I'm sorry.
Visit the Gravity Max website at gravitymaxmedia.com. Also, follow Gravity Max on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon. You can go there and give us money. Links in the description.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Patreon, I wasn't a part of it.
Oh, you can donate. You can donate anytime. Give us some of that McDonald's money, Jam.
Give us some of that ordained priest money.
Yeah, the $10 I'm supposed to get.
Michael here is an ordained priest.
He is. What
church is it again, Michael? Okay, he doesn't know.
It's a church.
It is a church.
It is a church.
Something global.
How many people do you need to legally be defined as a church? Like, what's the minimum?
I'm actually not sure about
I know the minimum amount of people you need to start a religion is 3.
It's like, no, I thought it's like 5% of the U.S. population or something.
To be certified, to get privileges and to be certified by the U.S. But in definition, you only need 3.
But
there's 3 of us here,
and everything. Yeah, that's enough. Yeah. But doesn't that mean everything we've called a cult is just a religion?
Yes. In fact, when I was in Yale my first year, that was our final question for our secret societies class that I took. The final question.
The difference between
was is every religion a cult? Is every cult a religion?
Nice. That's a pretty spicy question.
It is.
We're not going to address it here.
No, we are not. Oh, here.
I
gotta lift the screen up. I'm sorry. The screen was off a little bit. The links in the description part was kind of like half cut off, but we're good now.
Oh, okay. All right. Also follow Sebastian on social media. Instagram, Twitter, 128 Seconds YouTube. He's got a channel where he makes quick videos in 128 seconds. Links in the description. They're very good videos.
I'm very proud of the one I just did. The history of music. I got a lot of music from around the world, and I threw all those links in the description if you want to check it out. There is a cameo from one of my favorite musicians in there, and it's really nice. You got to hear and learn about some music from around the world, as well as educate yourself on where music all began. I have a guitar, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I challenge everyone watching right now to beat me first in the comments. I'm always first on
It's always
everything.
first. Oh yeah.
First comment, first like, first dislike. All of the
Oh,
above.
we've got we've got missing music says if you yeet your guitar -3. I don't know what the 3 is supposed to mean, but
Here, let me open it up on chat. I don't have the social media desk up. What am I doing?
yeah, you don't. What are you doing?
What am I doing?
2 monitors, wasting your time.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I will not be eating my guitar. I love that guitar.
Yeah,
honestly, it looks so sleek, and it's very aesthetic.
Yes, very, very much. It's great. Everything I said, everything looks cooler with a guitar. If you have a guitar, you're automatically cooler.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So then, A Bottled Up Flame. That's my second book. It's the sequel to A Truly Dead Rock, and it is on Amazon. You can get it as a paperback or ebook on like a tablet for Kindle. Science fiction. I think you'll all like it. So links in the description. And the topic today. Benevolent fictional characters who possess talents that are beyond the natural scope of human capabilities, also known as superheroes. So that's what we're talking about.
We need to give a shout out to what the picture is behind the title right here.
Oh yes, yeah. Let me bring it to front.
Yeah, here.
Order, bring to front. The Sense of Right Alliance. You've got
this is masterful.
Blue Power Ranger, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and Shrek.
Hey, don't forget about Lightning McQueen all the way on the left.
Yeah, no, if you look at the top, it's got
true.
everyone.
Blue Lightning McQueen, that is
Mr. 95.
Oh, it's so good.
So yeah. Yep, you've got the Sense of Right Alliance. So superheroes are, it's a genre. I mean, we don't really go into the history, but what we're talking about today is their superpowers and how you could attain such abilities with science, possibly, because some of these might not be possible. I don't know.
Anything's possible, Max. Anything is possible with science, and we can get into the history of some superheroes too. But
yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
So yes,
let's go right into it. And Michael is also a superhero expert, isn't that right, Michael?
Yes.
Yes, because you agree with me, because this is our talk show.
Yes.
All right, The Fast.
The Fast. Yep.
So the Fast.
Careful, folks. He doesn't have a lightning bolt.
The Fast, nicknamed the Flash, which
these are all original characters. These are all original characters, by the way.
The Fast. His name was. Oh, do we need to come up with a fake alias as well?
Alan Berry.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say Alan Berry.
Yep, his name.
Alan Berry was just a simple forensic scientist. When one day, in the most convoluted TV series ever, because that's what I'm going off of, he got struck by a lightning bolt that he himself may or may not have thrown at himself. So,
oh yes,
the
future version of himself.
This lightning bolt, combined with the random scientific fluids in the lab, instead of killing him instantly, decided to make him the fastest man alive.
Yep.
And
after like a 6-month coma.
Exactly. And so just a quick run through of his powers. He's fast. That's basically it. But other things that he's been shown to do that go a little beyond just being fast. There's time travel, which we can get into a little bit. There's also him vibrating his molecules so fast that he can go through solid surfaces. And there's also generation of electricity, of lightning.
You can also regen very quickly.
Yeah.
You get shot, boom, gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's also true. So let's just start with his speed. Mm-hmm. So his top speed, it's been calculated, and it is like he's run faster than the speed of light. But I think someone actually put it down in actual terms. Flash maximum speed.
So this is interesting. Because there are some of these
532 miles an hour.
No, that's from the show. There's in the comics.
Oh yes, in the comics, he moves faster than someone teleporting.
Yes, that is true.
Which
so yeah, I guess you could say he's pretty much
he's just infinitely fast. I guess.
I would say that he's fast.
He is certified fast.
And then you have the other Flashes, and then I mean, like Green Lantern was my introduction. I think they're actually right behind me actually, because I was just going through. Yeah, they are. I was just going through my old comics. Right here, you have two of the Blackest Night books, mint condition, of course. And these are Green Lantern in the Green Lantern universe, and basically they start instituting massive laws of the DC universe in these books. And that was my introduction into DC doing that. But they do that so much more with the Flash if you actually sit down and read through it, because the Flash lore might be the most convoluted lore in all of DC, because first of all, there are a bunch of different Flashes. There is Alan Berry, but then there's also, and I'm going to say the names of the other guys because they're kind of side characters. There's Wally West, as well as Reverse Flash, as well as Savitar, but that was really just in the show, and Zoom, which is apt for today's culture. But Wally West is insane because he is the fastest out of Barry, out of any of the other characters I named. Even Savitar, who is supposed to be the god of speed, Wally West outran.
Wow.
Wally West outran death, and this is when they started expanding on things, because they said in the DC universe, it is canon, that the force of death itself is one guy named the it's more like a force, named the Black Flash, I think is what it's called. It might have another name, but that's basically what it is. And to my understanding, it is either a Flash that is using a Black Lantern ring, or it's just a very fast Flash. And it is responsible for taking people's lives. It is so fast that it can take all the lives, and I'm not sure if it's just Earth or the entire universe, but it is that fast that it can deliver someone's like soul or whatever it is, and like zip out. And Wally West, his girlfriend died, and Wally West managed to outrun the Black Flash from entering the room and taking his girlfriend's soul out, or it might have been his wife. He grabbed his girlfriend's soul and body or whatever and just ran and outran death in a race to the edge of the universe. I am making none of this up. You can look this up. But it gets very convoluted. So, taking it at its most basic level, Alan Berry, right in front of us, he goes fast because of something called the Speed Force. And I don't think there's any scientific basis for the Speed Force as we know it, because how they explain it is that it is a dimension made of pure speed, and how fast someone can go is dependent on their connection to this speed. So, for the sake of science, the Speed Force probably does not exist. But with a little thought experiment, we can think, how fast can we make a human being run? That's the question I want to answer on this slide. How fast can we make a human being run? Now, initially what comes to my mind is mechanically assisted running. The military has been working on exosuits. We talked about this in a much earlier episode. Actually, was that the first episode ever that we talked about?
Maybe. I'm not sure. But I remember there was like one exosuit that made it like more efficient, so you tire out a lot slower. Like, that's pretty cool. That's more endurance than speed, though. But.
Yeah, that's very true. But so the military is working on stuff like that. It wouldn't take too much stretch of an imagination to imagine that they would hone in on just speed, because that can be very tactically advantageous. So mechanically assisted might be a path.
Yeah. Possibly. The big thing with mechanically assisted is that it's got to be adding more, speed than it takes away by being heavy, because machines tend to be pretty heavy. But where my mind first went, I guess, is sort of like planetary conditions. So I'm like, if someone was on a lighter, like if someone was on Mars where there's less gravity, would that help them run faster? And also, you could probably help someone with tailwind. Just like have like 28-mile-an-hour tailwind. That would be pretty helpful if you're already running at 28. Because I think that's the fastest speed, right? 28 miles an hour.
I'm pretty sure that's Usain Bolt's record. His record is, let's see, in the one. Oh, so wait, no, that's his time. I need his speed.
Yeah.
His speed is 27.8 miles per hour. So yeah, 28 miles per hour.
Okay.
That is fast.
So that is very.
I can run.
It to put that in context, the average human running speed is wait, that's also 28 miles per hour? No, that's the max. Give me the average. No, that was set. But imagine being so good at running that you set the maximum running speed for your entire race. Cool. That's crazy.
Yeah, your entire species. That's pretty cool.
So the average is 9 minutes per mile. So changing that into miles per hour.
Into normal.
Into normal.
Well, why do they always do that?
Here, you know what? I bet there is a minutes.
Well, normal would be kilometers or meters per second, but I can admit that distance over time is the proper way to do things.
Yeah, but anyways, it is definitely not 28 miles per hour.
A 9-mile minute is like, I'm just thinking, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 miles an hour.
I know walking is 3 miles per hour, so I'd say it's probably more around like 9 to 10.
Well, yeah, a 9-minute mile though, because that would be a 10-minute mile would be 6 miles an hour, and
10-minute mile 6. Then yeah, there you go. Yeah, 6 to about 10 is kind of what I'm just going through Quora.
Nice.
If you guys figure it out, then go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, so let's see. I'm trying to think. How could you help someone?
So, well, let's say that the Speed Force does exist. Contacting stuff with other dimensions is like the most far off technology, because then we can start doing like fourth dimensional stuff, and crazy stuff like that. So the Speed Force would have to fit in to one of the dimensions, and if like string theory is real, then there's like 12 or 13 dimensions.
I would say your best bet for like accessing another dimension might be just to sort of mess around with gravitational waves, because if we see those gravitational waves are like waves in space-time itself. So if you were to get 2 little black holes and just have them spin around each other really quickly, you might be able to generate enough like waves to sort of, that might destroy everything, possibly. I don't know, probably not, but people like to say, oh, this is going to destroy everything. Like the Large Hadron Collider, people are like, oh no, it's going to create a black hole that destroys. And I'm like, no, the black hole is so much smaller than an atom, like the tiny black holes they create. And atoms are like 99.9% empty space. So those things will just go right through empty space to the, center of the Earth, and then slowly radiate away through Hawking radiation. And not slowly, actually, pretty quickly, because the small ones go fast. But anyway.
So the fast. So that's his speed. And, average human running speed, we can just call it anywhere from 6 to 10. He can run a lot faster than that. So that's his speed down. Now, the second thing that we had on the list was his time travel. About how he was able to achieve faster than light speed. And faster than light speed is something we talk a lot about on this channel. Basically, to sum it up,
there's one thing before that is, so if you were able to run at a speed of like 99.9% light speed and just go around, your local, track and field court, right? Your local track, you could probably just sort of get into the future. And not probably, that would be time travel into the future.
Yeah.
Because of time dilation. So from your perspective, like 1 second would pass, but then from everyone else's perspective, like, I don't know, 100 years pass, depending on how fast you go. And that is sublight speed. So that's one way to do it.
It is. So basically the concept that we're talking about, how your speed determines your relation to time, is Einstein's theory of general relativity, which we talk a lot about. And basically what Einstein proposed all the way back in 1915, if memory serves. Was it 1915?
Right.
I think that's it. In 1915, he proposes that time is relative to each individual person. Michael, what time is it right now?
Good question. It's 5:21.
That's crazy. With other people.
For me, it's 5:20.
Time is relative, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Because of my stupid computer that's 50 seconds behind. Even though it's set automatically, I don't understand how that happens. It is automatically set.
Well, hey, no, here's one possibility for that. Maybe while you were sleeping, somebody took your computer and went on a jet plane that was going much faster and almost close to the speed of light. Because this was the experiment done. There were 2 atomic clocks taken. And atomic clocks are the most accurate clocks because they take time and measures of a cesium atom, I think, a number of rotations. But so it's like the most accurate clocks ever. They sync them up, so they're both going, and they have one go up into a jet plane, and it goes all the way around, and all of that, and then they bring it back, and the time had changed for those.
Very slightly.
Yeah, very slightly, but the time on the atomic clock that was on the plane was now behind the one that was on the ground because time had dilated for it. So that's basically
My computer is set, like the way they automatically set, the way Apple does that is that it's like Apple's servers. So my computer is basically saying, "Hey, Apple, in like, I don't know, New York or something, what time is it?" And then Apple is like, "Oh, it is 5:21 and 56 seconds." Even though it is actually like 5:22 and, I don't know, 40 seconds. So
well, here's a good idea for that. We're in one state and you're further away from us. I don't know, am I allowed to say states? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
We're in Connecticut, you're in Florida. You're 50 seconds behind because I don't know reasons.
Florida time. No, that's very true.
Here's the thing.
Florida is on its own time plane.
It's 50 seconds behind. I think that might make sense. But my phone is accurate, though. My phone is correct, and that's the strangest thing because they are both Apple products. Unfortunately. Maybe I should switch, honestly.
Maybe.
They're getting my.
But what Michael brings up is very interesting, actually, because
the speed of light.
Well, he also postulated at the fact that Florida is its own dimension, and so let's talk about that. And while that is colloquially true that Florida is its own dimension, with dimensions, that's when stuff like different dimensions. That's when stuff starts getting a little sketchy. Because that's when you have to start thinking, obviously, in other dimensions. But that's when time starts getting a little wonky, because that's the 4th dimension. And the quantum mechanics versus general relativity, they disagree on a couple of things. One of them being gravity. That's the most well-known disagreement between quantum mechanics and general relativity, is that they have different interpretations of gravity. Quantum mechanics deals with the very, very small, and what's scary is that at the very, very small level, things just randomly happen, and we don't know why. In general relativity, usually deals with more massive things, like entire sizes of planets, stuff like that, things moving at the speed of light, all of that on a very grand scale. And quantum mechanics is the zoomed in version of all of that. But another thing they don't agree on is time. Just using my knowledge from Yale and from the was it Brian Greene that wrote The Elegant Universe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I if it's not, it's someone else with the last name Greene.
It's Brian.
It's Brian. Yeah. So
yeah,
in Brian Greene's The Elegant Universe, great summary of honestly both of them, but his quantum mechanics piece I think is definitely a lot stronger. He talks about how quantum mechanics sees time as an absolute constant. No matter what size you go down to, no matter how fast you are traveling, quantum mechanics dictates that time is not relative. And that's another very overlooked difference between general relativity and quantum mechanics. And you might be like, but we just proved that time is relative because we did all of that. But other experiments on the small scale have shown that some other sketchy stuff is going on. Now, honestly, that just points to forces that we... Yeah, I know. It just points to other forces that we aren't really aware of. But...
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They did an experiment where they accelerated an electron up near to like light speed, and they found that the mass increased. So like mass dilation, and that's a relativistic effect.
Yes, that is a relativistic effect, and I don't know the specifics of the experiment, but when an object approaches the speed of light, its mass approaches infinity, is something that we have just... Well, I don't know when that was postulated, but I think that
was part of Einstein's.
Yeah, most likely. But the problem is with quantum mechanics is the randomness element, and the observer effect is the number one thing that stops us from getting proper data and stuff. Because with what the observer effect is that things will happen, but when they observe, they will happen differently. For example, if you are very, very good at a video game, and then your parents walk in and watch you try and play it, and then you start sucking at the video game, that is the observer effect. Like when you start streaming on Twitch and you start just dying left and right, that's the observer effect. But on a serious note, if you want to take it at a mechanical scale, how we see very, very small particles is we either shoot photons at them or we shoot electrons at them. And with electrons, they have to hit the things to be able to see them. But now we're dealing with particles so small that we can actually doink them off course. So the observer effect is in that way as well as other things. So with measuring stuff, a lot of physicists have to go in. Whether it is true or not, they have to go in with very certain assumptions in order to get calculations. They have to assume that time is not relative when they are calculating for quantum mechanics. So, yeah,
someone set off their car alarm. It stopped though. But
yeah.
Like, wait a minute, that's not good.
Yeah, but it's very weird, and quantum mechanics is a lot less straightforward than general relativity in my understanding. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm on team general relativity, I gotta say.
Honestly, yeah, I have to be on even though I have all the quantum mechanics background and all that stuff. It's gotta be that because
they say one has to, well, not necessarily, at least one has to be wrong, I guess. Or incomplete.
Well, what I was talking about is they could both kind of be right, but when people say that quantum mechanics doesn't do this or it doesn't do this. What that means, because that's shorthand, what that means is that to be able to observe and to be able to rationalize what we are seeing, it would have those things have to be true. That gravity is that like the gravity of general relativity doesn't mesh with the gravity of quantum mechanics, and that time stays the same. But
I would say it's
go ahead.
most accurate that they're both just sort of incomplete. So it's sort of like in most physics classes today, like you'll rely on Newtonian mechanics, even though those are technically wrong now. Newtonian mechanics are incorrect by like a tiny factor. So when you're in physics class and they're like, oh, apply a force of 5 newtons to accelerate the object by 5 meters per second squared, what's the mass? It's like slightly off of 1 kilogram because of the relativistic effects that would be taking place, right? So Newtonian mechanics is so slightly wrong that it's essentially irrelevant at small scales. It's like, 10 to the negative 100. Just, that's not exact, but some ridiculously small value of error. But as you get to higher speeds, then there's a higher error, and that is where general relativity is more accurate.
Yeah.
So the thing about general relativity in quantum mechanics is that quantum mechanics is accurate at the small scale, but not at the large scale, and the general relativity is accurate at the large scale, but then not the small scale. So then the question is, what is the thing that is always accurate?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's when like I let it off, I said things happen randomly. Whether you believe in randomness, like true randomness or luck or any of that stuff, there is most likely a reason why things just will go all over the place, and that reason is most likely a force or a particle that we aren't aware of yet. Like we've talked about before, the graviton, we're not sure if there is a particle that carries the force of gravity. Then there was the research into the Higgs boson particle, and that there might be, and I don't think this was confirmed yet, the Higgs boson field is how particles get their mass based on their interactions with that. I'm not sure.
They found the boson. They found it in like 2012.
They found that to be true. Well, no, they found the particle, but I'm talking about the field. Yeah. The theory that...
I'm not sure about that.
It's based on their interactions with the field. Anyways, so there's a lot of particles that are responsible for carrying the 4 fundamental forces. There's like the W and the Z that carry weak force, the
gluon that carries the strong force.
Strong force.
The photon carries the electromagnetic force.
Yes. And then obviously that leaves the last one, gravity. Where is the particle of gravity? And honestly, I think that's it. Once we find the particle of gravity, there's going to be something else to it, and we're going to be like, oh, and that's why it is that, There's going to be some law, and that's going to be the bridge between the two. Now, will that be complete? I don't think so, but it might provide enough of a connection to provide a unifying theory, which physics does not currently have.
Yeah.
But anyways,
it's really interesting with gravity, because if you have a gluon interacting between particles, like, it makes sense. They are incredibly close together, so you can see, oh, the gluon goes from there to there. Like, that's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, same with, say, a photon for electromagnetism, and then the bosons, W and Z bosons. But how is a graviton supposed to get from the Earth to the moon to interact with the moon? That's like an interesting sort of question. Like, what's that?
Yeah. Quantum mechanics it's a baby, honestly, in terms of scientific stuff, because we know so little about it and it is so underdeveloped. But it is the future. It is definitely the future, because you can see the shifts in ages. Like, the age of Einstein, when he introduced general relativity, revolutionized science. Like, honestly, he does not get enough credit for what he does. And I know that might sound crazy. Like, when you say Einstein, everyone's like, oh, yeah, he's a genius. But not a lot of people...
That's not even enough.
It's not enough, because he wasn't just a genius. He was an innovator. He was an architect. He was a inventor. He was so many other things, because he pushed the human race into a new era single-handedly. And there are very, very few people in history that can push the human race as a whole into a new era just literally by themselves. There's a reason why Albert Einstein was just randomly asked by Israel to become their president, which he then declined.
That's pretty cool. They just asked, "Hey,
yeah, exactly.
President? No election necessary.
No election
just
necessary.
Become our president." That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
But I mean, he is one of the most revolutionary thinkers ever, and it's worked. His theories have worked its way into so many technologies and so many other things that we can't even do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, anyways, to go back to the Fast.
Yes. Fast. How would you time travel? I think it would. If you wanted to go back in time, it would have to be outside known physics, I would say.
It would, yeah. Michael, if you wanted to go back in time, what decade would you go to?
The 1980s, early 80s.
Early 80s. That's nice.
With Mr. Reagan himself.
With Mr. Reagan himself.
I don't know. I think he's in the 80s, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He pretty much defined the 80s, 1981 to 1989. So he's got the whole 80s covered.
Yep.
Except for 1980 itself. That's cool. But yeah.
Damn you, Carter. But Georgia man. But so yeah, time travel, fast speeds equating to time travel, not a completely outside of the box thing.
Yeah. So you could go to the future, just you couldn't come back to the past.
Yeah, and because of the paradoxes and stuff, if you look at the CW show, there was at one point he goes back to see his mom get killed, and then he sees that it was him that killed his mom, or then another one of him comes in and stops him from attacking the one that attacked his mom, and then another one comes in, and so there's 6 of Barry Allen or Alan Barry in the same room.
Yes, I stopped watching that show around season 5. I watched a few episodes of season 5 and was like, okay, this is getting...
Well, now they've crossed over, and I think they've almost become one show with the Arrow.
All the other shows?
Yeah, okay. with Arrow and Supergirl and the other one, which I don't remember, but I think there's another one.
Wait, wasn't the plot, and I guess this is a spoiler alert, just in case I don't want people to get mad, but wasn't it he saved his mom, but then it was butterfly effect, everything was much worse. So then he's like, oh no, I gotta prevent myself from doing this.
I haven't seen either, so I would not know.
Yeah.
Wasn't it his girlfriend came to the future and his girlfriend was dead now, and he's like, oh no.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. No,
that's what I remember.
It was Arrow. I watched Arrow. I didn't really watch The Flash. Arrow was more my jam.
I was the Flash guy. So we've got the 2 different shows.
Yeah, there you go. But I think they're one now. But anyways, Michael.
Well, because I think the Arrow is officially canceled.
Did it get canceled?
I thought it was done. They finished the Arrow. So now maybe he's on the Flash and they're both on the same show.
Well, I saw that they switched. That they went to an alternate reality where Oliver Queen became the Flash and Barry Allen became the Green Arrow, and they just took the actors.
I thought I saw something on YouTube about that.
Yeah, they did. Gosh. But it's so funny to just see the actors in the wrong suits.
Yeah. That is strange.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Because look at him. this is the guy who plays the Flash. His name is Grant Gustin. And he got kicked off an airplane, or he got arrested off of an airplane because he was vaping. So, like, and he was on Glee. He played, like, an evil guy on, if you can even characterize an antagonist in Glee as an evil character. To see him don the hood.
Song.
Yeah, exactly. He sang in the wrong clef.
Yeah, exactly.
But
singing in a minor key.
To see him don the hood of Oliver Queen, a guy who was supposed to spend 5 years on an island ruled by a paramilitary force where he was tortured day and night, was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But anyways, the last thing that we brought up was he vibrates very fast, so fast that he can go through solid surfaces. And Max kind of alluded to what the base principle, or one of the base principles of what that is that atoms are 99.9% empty space. And that's what he's trying to exploit here. So would you say that's scientifically viable?
Well, it's interesting because it's sort of like quantum tunneling, except quantum tunneling becomes exponentially less likely on, the larger,
bigger scales.
You get. So So it's interesting. It's actually a problem with computers, is that we keep making smaller and smaller computers, and we've gotten to the point that our computers are so small that the barriers between, like, to stop the electricity are too small. So the electrons are just like, this sign can't stop me because I can't read, and then it just keeps going.
Exactly.
Messes up the computer. So the reverse happens when you get larger. So that's why I would not recommend just running into a wall. But yeah,
looking at you, Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe maybe if he vibrates the molecules, though, I don't know. Maybe that affects the on.
So going a little into quantum tunneling, I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
The two particles that or at least the two most famous ones, and I think they're the only two confirmed ones, I might be wrong on that, are, to quantum tunnel, are electrons and photons. Largely because they are extremely small and they have a negligible amount of mass. Because of that negligible amount of mass, they are able to pass through certain barriers and stuff like that without, like, basically, if you just think about it on a scale, it would be like if you blow it up to big size, if you took a beach ball and there was a brick wall and the beach ball just slowly rolled towards the brick wall and it suddenly teleported from one side to the other in it like instantly. That is kind of what quantum tunneling is, and it's the random nature of stuff that that we don't understand in quantum mechanics. There can be as many as any number of forces, like a Googleplex amount of forces that we don't know that are at play. But again, something really tells me that with the discovery of the graviton, if we can, it will shine a light into the dimly lit janitor's closet of an abandoned middle school that quantum mechanics is.
Yeah, exactly. I just remembered something from the CW show.
Yeah.
There's, like, one of the characters that acquires superpowers. He calls himself, like, the Vibe or something.
Yes, that's where I stopped watching. That's where that is the exact episode that I stopped watching when he was like.
The name's the Vibe.
Exactly. It's hilarious. He's just vibing.
He just vibe checks
people.
He's
literally the meme. It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fuck you. I don't like your vibe.
Your vibes are disgusting, sir.
Your vibes have not passed the test.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Vibe check.
So,
what was his name? Costco?
Cisco.
Cisco? Yeah.
Costco. What a great convoluted show. And then you had, like, the other one that was, like, with ice and stuff.
Oh,
like,
Catherine, Caitlin
but
Frost. Yeah, well, she was Frost. That was her character.
Yeah, exactly. But then she's like, "Oh no, I'm turning evil because the ice is like an evil power."
Yep.
And then I don't know.
I mean, shout out to Captain Cold. Probably one of the worst names I've ever heard, on par with Captain Boomerang. I know what Captain Boomerang is. It has a certain charm to it.
Because Boomerang fits with Captain. I feel it's very like punchy.
Well, the thing is that you know what you're going up against. Yep. If someone tells you you're about to fight Captain Boomerang on Fifth Ave, you know exactly what's gonna be waiting for you on Fifth Avenue. You know what type of guy is standing there. If you get told, oh, there's Captain Cold waiting for you on Broadway, you're like, what? Is he an attendant at a theme park? Like, who am I expecting? You know?
Yeah.
But, anyways, going back to the particle vibrations, it could be playing off of quantum tunneling. It could be playing off of 99.9% of atoms being empty space. In the DC Comics, the biggest explanation we've got was, because that's what DC kind of does. It has that bad habit of throwing random powers on someone and leaving it to the writers of the next, sometimes decades, to figure it out. Because you think of when... Okay, so we're going to talk about Above Average Man later, but when he started out, he had very little superpower. He was the first superhero, but he had very little superpowers. He was just very strong. That was it. He didn't have flight. He would just jump really high because he had iron calves. And he was strong and he was fast. That was the other thing. He was strong and he was fast. Faster than a speeding bullet, can leap over a building in a single bound, all of that.
Yep.
And then they just decided to cut out the middleman, give him flight. And then in the Silver Age, might have been the late Golden Age of comics, they just were like, and just threw all these things on him. This was the same period of time that I'm pretty sure they gave Hulk the ability to see ghosts. Let me just repeat that. The power to see ghosts.
I didn't hold the Ghostbusters.
Exactly. Yeah, he's the fifth Ghostbuster, right alongside Bill Murray and what's the other guy? Dan as I'm forgetting the end part of his name. It's Bill Murray, and then the guy. He has his stupid liquor company now. Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd. That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Anyways. Enough about Dan Aykroyd.
Yep. So, The Fast, in summary, could you do it? Sorta? Maybe a little bit?
With time.
Here's something I never understood about The Flash, or The Fast, in the CW show. Why didn't not once, did anyone say, what if we built a speed-resistant bicycle? Not one. They should have done that, because a bike is a human-powered vehicle that makes you go faster. So if, say that he can go at 1,000 miles an hour. If he's on a bike, he can go at 2,000-ish. I don't know. But, think about yourself running versus you on a bike. There's no motor on the bike that's making you faster. It's just you, Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they didn't build him a bike. They talked about
how... They have the cosmic treadmill.
They have the cosmic treadmill and they have the cosmic motorcycle, but that's not even in the mainstream. It was... Shout out to Jeff Johns. He just came out with the... he definitely had a hand in it. Give me 1 second. The Three Jokers comic series that was just released. Yep, Jeff Johns. He's probably the most talented and probably one of the most famous comic story. I'm not sure if he's an artist too, but he's a story outliner. That's probably reverse for you guys, but that says Jeff Johns there, and his name is on all of these three. Very good series. I recommend checking it out. But he also worked on what I showed you guys earlier. I'm pretty sure Jeff Johns right there at the bottom. Again, this probably reversed, but so he is, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to him. Also, shout out to Jim Lee. Jim Lee is the best artist for comic books. There are a couple others that come to mind, but honestly, Jim Lee grew up on him. He drew the one of, I'm not sure if you've seen it, I might throw it in, the one of Above Average Man and Dead Parents, Lot of Money Man, looking at each other, and they're like opposed. So Above Average Man is in Metropolis, and he's like looking out over Metropolis, and it's cut perfectly in the middle with Batman, or excuse me, Dead Parents Man, just on a gargoyle looking at the other guy. But I'll throw it in. But we also have chat.
Yes, we do have chat. So we've got Missing Music in the chat. It says the squad, less gravity, comma, max speed, and then gravity max 6, 2 X's.
The Gravity Max is not a bad superhero name. I'm gonna be honest.
I'll admit, yeah. And then finally, the vibe, semicolon, vibe checking people and smacking them with a pool noodle if they fail.
I love it.
That's pretty much what he does.
Yeah, but he was not terrifying. Like that's why I left, because he would just have a bad dream, and it would be him in his dream, and he'd be like, "I'm vibing," and they tried to play that off as like some
he would always go like
historic event. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'd be like, "All right, I'm done." But anyways, to wrap it up, scale of 1 to Costco, Mike. How disgusting are your vibes today?
I'm gonna be honest. Very Best Buy.
Very Best Buy. Thank you. All right, on to the next guy. We have Badger.
Nothing conspicuous under here.
Nothing's conspicuous under there.
This guy is very good at healing, and he also has, giant metal claws that come out of his hands. So those are his 2 things.
3 knives each hand. How does it work? Exactly. Who knows?
So let's start with the claws thing, because I think that's pretty easy. I've done it before. So you go downstairs, you go to your kitchen drawer, you find 6 knives, okay, and then you sort of hold them like...
We here at the Gravity Max live stream are instructing children to grab knives.
So, no, well, actually, they should be older than 13 if they're watching, so that is still in effect.
That's still in effect.
We don't want to... So our target audience, I think, is old enough. Bam.
Oh,
Wolverino.
He's done it. He's done it.
So, no, that's pretty... But basically, just do that, except, by surgery, which would be pretty painful. But, just, add it in the hands. I mean, I don't think it's that complicated. Pretty sure...
You, hit your desk there, and it sounded just like the stock Vine boom sound effect.
Wait, when? I don't remember this.
You just then you hit your desk or something, but I don't know, something like that.
Anyway.
But if you remember from the Vine era, that one boom sound effect that everyone would use, it sounded just like that. If you're in the chat, replay that. That was glorious.
Anyway, but yeah, you know what I mean. I bet. Yeah. I mean, we have irresponsible surgeons. Irresponsible mad scientists all the time. I mean, there was that guy in China who just did genetic experiments on these kids to make them immune to AIDS.
Were they his kids or were they someone else's?
Not his kids.
I always thought that they were his kids.
No, it was but the someone else was like, oh please, we really don't want them to get AIDS.
Yeah.
So it was the parents agreed to it. But still, it's pretty. You gotta consult the ethics committee.
Inhumane.
Yeah, exactly. So, although the people were fine, the children were fine, but they might not have been. That's essentially the issue here.
Yeah.
But, you know, just get that guy, say, hey, I got another job for you. I want you to make Wolverine claws.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, okay, how much are you paying me? And so yeah. But there's a problem with that, is that every time you, like, have the claws go out, because they're sort of retractable claws like a cat, is that you're slicing open the skin between your knuckles each time.
Yeah, and they made that a point in the movie.
Yeah.
He was like, it really hurts when I do this.
Yes. But he just tolerates it because he also has, like, insta healing, so he's like, okay, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
In like
Wolverine has always been my favorite, man. Because Logan, man, he doesn't care.
You named him wrong. It's not Wolverine. It's Logan or the Badger.
Logan the Badger. I think we can say their names now.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be a one-off joke, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
We have some more chat, by the way.
Oh, we got more chat. Oh, let's see what chat says. Missing Music says, okay, but maybe grab the knives by the handle. Please clarify. Yeah. Do not grab knives by their blade. Were they his kids? I immediately had full Metal Alchemist flashbacks. Spoiler alert for that last chat.
Oh.
I
don't think
it's ever will.
It's too unspecific. I don't know. It's not specific enough, I think, to be a real spoiler.
Yeah. Anyways, so like I was saying, Logan, Badger, Wolverine, sideburns, man. I've done him a great disservice by shaving. I don't have my trademark sideburns on.
Yeah.
But
come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But he doesn't care. He does his own thing and he does all that. But quick origin story about him. He is a mutant, and we're gonna talk. We have a couple more mutants on the list. We're going to talk about what being a mutant means and all of that. Basically, his big power was he had, bones that would come out of his skin. They were, like, attached to his skeleton, and they would retract and do all that. He didn't... I can't remember. I think he had his healing factor. And that was
he had his healing
factor.
Had his
healing factor, and they took his healing factor and gave it to Deadpool as well. And that was the reason.
So I just remember from like the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So he had the bones, and the healing factor, but then some like military guy named like Stryker or something was like, oh, I could give you metal claws instead. Wouldn't that be epicer? And like I don't know, some like person he cared about died or something, so he was like, I must avenge their death. I don't exactly remember. So then he got the
so he was, because of his healing factor, he was able to survive all that stuff. And he was born in
I like this montage at the beginning of his he was born in like the 1800s.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
His like origin movie, there's a montage where he fights in like every major war the US has been in since like the Civil War.
Yep.
So, that's pretty cool.
And
he's immortal too. That's another thing. That's part of the healing thing. He always heals.
He's effectively immortal.
Eternally youthful, eternally young. Well, except for Logan, but
yeah.
Then you get to that movie where he's like kind of old, and so it's like
But anyways, with the with body, I guess you would just put this under body augmentation, unless we want to focus on the healing factor. The healing.
Yeah, well, we should focus on the healing factor.
Yeah, sure.
The claws were easy.
The claws are easy, but I just mean, in the future when prosthetics get better, I'm gonna cut my left arm off at like around here, right? I'm gonna cut my left arm off right around here, so that I can get a prosthetic arm that has, all of these attachments, like a USB, Bluetooth.
I had that idea too.
Yeah.
I literally had that idea. I think that should be routine medical.
It should be routine. I'm going to cut off my leg too, by the way, because my leg is jacked.
No, that's not good. That's not good.
Why is that not good?
It should be non-dominant arm. You get a prosthetic version. And the reason being, if one of your legs is prosthetic and the other is not, then you're off balance.
Ooh, should I just
How
go double?
like that?
Should I just go double?
Yeah, but then the question is like, how good is it? I don't know.
That's fair.
Because I mean, if it's good enough, then you just want to go essentially full robot,
full cyborg.
Just go RoboCop, right? But then, on the other hand, if it sucks at all, like if it isn't adequate enough, you just wouldn't want it at all.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But definitely start with the
idea
arm.
Of like moderately good, so it's like on par with just a normal thing. You do non-dominant arm, get the like USB attachments, giant battery pack.
Yep.
You could even like the military, they could do like hand cannons.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like Wolverine, you could just, and have all that stuff. In no universe would that be legal outside of Croatia, but
exactly.
You know how it is.
Illegal modifications.
Yeah, that's the most cyberpunk thing
prosthetic
ever.
Arm? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people would probably get prosthetic arms because it's like, oh, people, because it's a medical thing. You need to, like, why else would you make prosthetic arms? But the really cool ones with like a ton of attachments and stuff, the government would probably be like, no, you.
And again, it's the aesthetic. It's the aesthetic of blending super futuristic technology with old-fashioned stuff. Like we had the guy reading the newspaper on the bullet train. Like that.
Yeah.
Now take prosthetic arm, and a prosthetic as in cyborg-like arm, pen and papering a letter or something like that, or lighting a cigar, or like doing a painting, stuff like that.
Yep.
Super cool stuff, man.
Definitely.
But anyways, onto the healing factor.
Yeah.
His healing factor is so good, like we said, it's pretty much immortality. Whatever was happening with him and Logan was that. But we have some chat.
I don't think is Logan. Oh, okay. I'm not sure Logan is like canon. Is it?
Honestly, it's good. It's good enough that I will.
It is pretty good. It is pretty good.
We will call it Gravity Max certified canon.
All right. Okay. Stop it.
Let's go.
The amounts of hair on this man's chunky arms is certainly admirable. Ah, yes, the 1800s.
Oh.
Missing music. Portable charger in your body. Hell yeah. Missing music. Adequate enough.
Yes.
Yes. Adequate enough.
I want my hand to have like a level on it, and there's like no reason for a level at all because I'm not gonna be an architect.
It should be like your ring finger or something, or your pinky is a level.
It's a level.
So you've got like a little bubble in there, and it's transparent, and you're like, oh, this is incredible.
Yeah, exactly. I just lay it on different surfaces, and I'm like, doesn't add up.
Exactly. You're like a detective or something, or
exactly.
Yeah, you're in a superhero thing. You're in like the squad of 5 or whatever. Like, how they always come in groups of 5, like superhero.
Of
teams.
Course.
So it's like, so they're like investigating something. Everyone always laughs at you for the level in your hand, and then like someone just got away, and you're like, wait, I can put the level down on his footprints and see which way he went.
Exactly.
He went that way.
Or like
I guess the level was good for something.
They always bully me because every time I walk into a room, I take the measurements, and then all of a sudden we're trying to find where the killer escaped, and I take the measurement, and I'm like, the floor has changed, and then we find the secret passageway, and then we go in, and I'm like, hello, I've stopped you with my level, and then he just kills me.
Yeah, you have nothing except for the level.
Except for level.
That's your only thing.
They call me old level finger, but it was nothing to thwart the the evil of Daniel Peters.
Exactly.
Common criminal.
Oh my god, common criminal. But yeah, so the healing factor is like a genetic thing, I guess, because he's a mutant. So
yeah. But
I guess, CRISPR, just genetic editing.
That's what I was going to talk about. I was also going to talk about lobster DNA and cuttlefish DNA, and also some of the jellyfish, because they have become immune to disease, pretty much. Like, nothing can kill a lobster except for when their shells eventually become too hard for them to break out of, so they just kind of like crush to death, or they get eaten by someone, you know, with a little bit of butter. Or with the cuttlefish DNA, that has been looked at because they can do some really weird things, like they're even more immortal than lobsters in some aspects. And then there are species of jellyfish that are effectively immortal because they don't like really do anything, but they also have some DNA that allows for that. But
yeah, it's really interesting. You could probably, with genetic modification, you could probably get someone up to like Deadpool level healing, but not Wolverine level healing. Wolverine level healing.
Well, I would say that Deadpool level healing is the same thing. If you go deep into the comics.
Oh, because... I guess I mean just the movies. So he heals slower. Yeah, so I'm more familiar with the movies, I guess. You know more about the comics, but
wait. Do you mean it would be more similar to Wolverine like and not Deadpool? Because I would say it'd be more similar to Wolverine, because Deadpool gets like ripped in half and stuff. You know?
Okay, well, but Wolverine, there's in like the third X-Men movie, he's literally getting like, he walks into this like tornado essentially from, you know, the Dark Phoenix one.
Oh yeah.
You know, he walks into this thing where like a ton of like baddies walk into it and just instantly like vaporize, and he walks into it.
Yeah.
Just has a few scabs and he's like, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah, I would say both Wolverine and Deadpool's healing factor is just unattainable.
Okay. Well, in the Deadpool movie though, it's like whenever he gets like a major injury, he just goes home with, you know, that blind woman that he lives with.
Yeah.
And then he just like sits on the couch for like a few hours while he heals.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's actually too fast. That's actually too fast as well. If you got your arm cut off, but you were able to heal it, it would probably take like months to years, but it would still heal eventually.
It would.
If you had the genetic modification. Because now, the way that humans work is that it just sort of, you get a stun. But if you look at like the axolotl, a ton of like lizards and stuff like that, lizards, like their tail just routinely falls off as like a defense mechanism. Like when it's running away, if you like get its tail, then it's like, oh, I guess I don't need this anymore, and then it just leaves. But then it regrows the tail eventually. So depending on the human body, it would be interesting, because you could also probably speed up the process by inducing it, and then like you would have to eat a lot of food. So probably not a general healing factor, but say that you like your arm got cut off, right? And so then you go to the doctor and you're like, doctor, what do I do? He would be like, okay, this is fine. We'll just inject you with the GMO. Now you got to eat 10,000 calories a day, and it'll grow back in like a few months.
Did I ever tell
I think that's possible.
Did I ever tell that story on this podcast? I'm not sure if I have.
I don't think so.
I used to think that the daily recommended caloric intake was 10,000 calories. I used to think that was the daily.
Oh no. Did you actually eat that much?
No, obviously I didn't, because I would not look like how I look right now, you know. But what I thought it was that it was how, because I had heard in like health class, and we skipped the caloric section of chemistry for some reason. Like we never did the calorimetry, burn the Pringle in the can, see what it does.
Yes.
We just skipped that, so I was just completely uneducated in it. And then I heard, that Michael Phelps has eats 10,000 calories per day, and I'm like, oh, he's healthy. He's in shape. And then I found this out because I was sitting in a drive-thru with Zach, and I order stuff, and he's like, "How much stuff did you just order?" I ordered a lot, like a disgusting amount, and it totaled to around 4,000 calories. And he was like, "Jesus Christ, you're eating 4,000 calories?" And I'm like, "Yep, almost halfway there." And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I'm like, the 10,000. And like everyone, his parents were in the car. They turn around and they look at me, and they're like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Michael Phelps, he eats 10,000 calories per day." And they're like, "Yeah, he swims for 8 hours a day. You don't do anything. You can't eat 10,000 calories." Oh my God.
That's a great story.
That was funny.
But yeah, basically, the body would need that much. It would need all that material to grow back an arm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. We're getting chat too, and he's saying I.
Oh, we're getting.
And I'm like, the 10,000. Yeah, no, my levels don't sound.
Right,
he was calling me microphone Mike. I don't have microphone.
Oh God, Jack.
We got.
Yeah, Jack is spamming.
Okay,
Jack,
missing music.
Jack, please.
Yeah, we're not gonna read all of this chat from Jack.
Someone's scanning. Yeah,
I'll read it. I'll read it.
Okay. Well, we got missing music says looking at a subtraction problem doesn't add up. Then Scandinavy. Scandinavy's going on.
Yeah, that's Jack.
I do not know who Scandinavy is. Missing music says, "Why did my message delete? I just wrote, quote unquote, no." I don't know. I think YouTube does that. Sometimes.
They don't let you disagree.
I think YouTube's drunk a little bit.
It is.
It's kind of drunk. Because if you go on like other live streams of more popular people with like super chats and stuff, like sometimes you'll just like try and send a super chat. Well, I don't super chat because I don't have disposable income. But if you go and super chat, people are always like, "Oh, why are you deleting my super chats?" And so it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Anyway. I do not know. But healing. So I would imagine we could get a genetic thing to do that. Or alternatively, you could do something where the person doesn't have to heal, so you take some of their stem cells, right? And then you like culture the stem cells in a lab, and then you can get the stem cells to grow into an arm, and then, surgically reattach it. What do you think about that possibility? So the person doesn't have to regrow the arm.
Yeah.
Instead, the arm is regrown in a lab, and it's like, oh, your estimated time of delivery for your new arm is, like Amazon. You can, track like on UPS. You just need to track.
That'd be hysterical.
And
just getting
like,
a package
your arm
with
is
your arm
60%. Yeah, your arm is 60% ready. But I mean, they wouldn't send it to you because they would probably keep it at the hospital or lab or whatever, then transport it to the hospital, and then you'd have just reattachment surgery where they. Not reattachment, first attachment, because it's a new arm. So they'd just be like, "Okay, here's your new arm," and you're like, "This is another right arm." Shoot.
Do I sound any different right now?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Not to me.
I just changed my audio track, so now it's going.
Oh my gosh, so much chat.
Yeah, hopefully we're not gonna be able to read all that spam.
Yeah, hopefully this is
Jack,
getting us.
Please stop. Why
what
are
is
you
it called?
here right now?
Engagement numbers.
Oh, our engagement numbers are gonna be through the roof.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jack, if you want to actually be helpful, tell me if my mic sounds any better, because it should have already been on this mic. And I don't think it was on my camera, but I just switched, designated it as this mic, and it just made my audio tracks kind of balanced between bass and treble. So if that sounds any better, let me know. But, no reason to spam.
He's still on the wolf.
He says, "Dude, what the F are you guys talking about?" Oh, that's great.
That is fantastic.
Oh my gosh. We are talking about benevolent fictional characters who possess... I'm not reading that again.
Jack,
anyway,
play
so...
play Siege later, Jack.
Oh,
I think I think this covers Wolverine.
Yeah, I think it does. We can move on over to above average. And
Above average man.
we're blocking the title, but it says above average man. If you guys want to see
we're
that.
blocking. Okay.
I'm just moving
man.
us down for this one.
Yep. Okay.
There you go. On stream editing. On stream editing, ladies and gentlemen.
I love that. That is just how any TV show works.
He's saying it's good now. No more microve. He's saying it's good now. No more microve.
Microwave.
Is it honestly any better?
Who is Wolfman? Okay, Scandinavia. Anyway, so above average man. What's the full list of his capabilities?
Yeah, actually, hold on. That might actually sound better. Thanks, Jack.
Just kind of everything.
Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying before, his powers shifted throughout the Golden Age, the Silver Age, and the Bronze Age of comics. Because
so did things just get worse? Is that the?
I would say that it was a. They started with good, then it went bad, and then they went bad in a different direction, and then they leveled it out. They had the standard, then they went to an extreme, and then they went to another extreme that wasn't the opposite of the first extreme, and then they leveled it out. So what I mean by that is that how they started off, Superman was the first ever superhero. I know Batman was first released May 1st, 1939, I think. Wow. It might have been May 2nd. Let me see. Batman first appearance. Yeah, May 39. Nope, March 30th, 1939. So it was in there. Or no, it was. Well, that's when the thing was finished. When was it published? The cover date was May 1939. And art by Jim Lee, again. Right there. Not in the original, obviously not. But I was just looking at the Wikipedia page. The original obviously did not have art by Jim Lee. But anyways. So, Superman was the first. He came before Batman in either 1938 or 1939. And he, revolutionized fiction. Jerry Springer and the other guy's name, Siegel, I think, were the creators of Superman. And
I remember it was two guys, yeah.
Oh no, Schuster and Siegel. Okay. Did I say Jerry Seinfeld earlier? I might have.
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer is someone else. I don't know who that is.
I think he's a TV person.
He might be. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster were the two guys that created him, and it's actually kind of wholesome, his origins, because he was both of those guys, both Schuster and Siegel, were Jews, and they were Jews in New York, and in the 1930s during the Great Depression. There was obviously everyone was not very happy, and some of that hate turned into anti-Semitic behaviors, and it was already the 1930s, so a lot of anti-Semitic stuff. So they wanted to create a hero that was an alien. They wanted to create someone that was an outsider, and they wanted to make him, represent the human race and stuff like that. So they came up with the story of this kid coming from a different planet that exploded, and he got sent off into space. And he lands here on Earth, and lo and behold, he has all these superpowers, because that's just how Kryptonians are. Because on his planet, he would just be like a buff, normal guy. He would just get bullied for being a reporter.
There's some other planet out there where everyone is just slightly worse than us.
Yeah, and so we just show up.
Superman.
Yeah.
We show up and we're able to run, and they're like, "What? You can run? I can just walk." They can get a max of 3 miles an hour.
They just
whoa! What is this guy doing?
They just cannot jump at all.
They are incapable. There is no space bar. So they're just like, "What? What is he doing? He's able to leap over he's able to leap over a traffic cone. Oh my god, that's incredible.
Yeah. Just stuff like that. Like none of them can use chopsticks, and we're just like, and that'd be really funny. That's a good.
God. They invented chopsticks even though they can't use them.
Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, that's his origin. That's why he was created and stuff. But talking about his powers, like we said earlier, when he started off, he was just a strong, fast guy, powered by really just his muscles and stuff. And then later on, they just started throwing every single power at him. At one point in time, they made him strong enough to carry the solar system on his back, and they made him powerful enough to create magical clones of himself. I'm not making any of this up. You can.
How do you just carry the solar system?
Big chain.
Because it's not. It's a big chain.
Yeah,
it's not continuous.
He had. Let me get the picture of him just pulling a solar system.
I mean, all you gotta do really is carry the sun, and that's 99% of the solar system. So, but if you want to go for 100% completion, that's kind of difficult.
Yeah, but point in case is that he is and has always been very strong. Yeah, this is from, obviously they aren't very well versed in this. So they don't have an issue number, but do have a panel from, Silver Age Superman, and the Silver Age of comics, just for reference. From my understanding, it was the 1950s to the 1970s, and then the Bronze Age was 70 to 84, and the Golden Age started with Superman and went until the 1950s. But Silver Age, and he is just, you can look this up, he's just pulling planets on a chain, just a big chain. So, as he does. But they realized very quickly after the Silver Age that they had made this guy too overpowered. Like, how do you write a villain against this? Like, he can pull planets on his back. What trickster is going to play japes on him? You know?
Yeah, you've got like some guy like robs a store and he comes out and Superman's there and he's like,
he will just pick up the bank and deposit him in jail within the bank.
Yes.
But anyways, so that led to two things. It led to them stripping away powers from him, and number two led to them creating Doomsday, who is almost equally as overpowered. But the issue was that in the Silver Age, they gave him kind of the powers of magic, and later on in the Bronze Age and now, they have established magic as one of Superman's biggest weaknesses, because he can be tricked. That's the number one thing. That's how Batman always beats him. Well, not always, but that's how he beats him when he goes up against him. Either with some gadget, or he lures him into a suspiciously green glowing room and all of that. And that's another interesting.
I wonder what's in here.
That's another interesting story. Is the kryptonite, and I'm not sure. I wanna confirm if this is real. The first appearance of kryptonite. Kryptonite. So that's when Superman first showed up. I know that, but with kryptonite. It's Superman's Achilles heel, and yes, its first appearance was in 1943. So even before he started getting all these crazy powers, they were like, "Hey, maybe we should throw this in." But I am not sure if this is true, and I don't have time to like palm through this entire thing. But there is a yes, okay. Okay, so there is an anecdote, and it has not yet been confirmed. So this may or may not be true. You know, like how those stories that may or may not be true, but a lot of people have heard of them and go off of them, is that
its first appearance was in a radio series called The Adventures of Superman, because obviously Superman got super popular in the 30s. That continued up until now. And because it was a radio thing, they had a guy doing the voice of Superman. His name was Bud Collyer. And Bud Collyer got sick one day. And so he could only he had a very raspy voice and could really only make groaning noises, and like his voice did not have the same, Superman gusto that he usually has. So they introduced something that would make Superman sick. Now again, that is a not been confirmed to be true, but the fact of it still coming from a radio series is true. But other than that, it kind of makes sense. I think they just took it and ran with it because they saw how well it worked. Because you have a incredibly powerful guy, even after they debuffed him from magic and stuff like that.
Yep.
It was like, we gotta get something. Because no one stands a chance. Like, Batman can be as smart as he wants. If Superman gets angry enough, it really doesn't matter,
That's true. Well, yeah, but it's interesting. So you could actually achieve like original Superman abilities just by going to another planet, which is what he did.
Yeah.
So it's because if you go to the moon, not a planet, but or if you go to Mercury or Mars to a certain extent, it's really all about the gravity. And so if you were to go to like Mimas, for instance, you could, which is a moon of Saturn, very low gravity. You could definitely jump over an entire building, like 150 meters or something into the air. You could go, you could jump over it. It would be a very slow process, though, actually, because you would just be sort of drifting up and over and then back down.
Yeah.
Because it was just very slow acceleration. But you would also be very strong. You could lift up an incredibly heavy object. It is not as heavy on a lighter world, so you could just lift a car. So yeah, that's how you become Superman. You can definitely do that.
What about going over his weaknesses?
Yeah,
I guess radioactive. How about radioactive minerals? That's already something that literally anything that makes people negatively affects people, right? So you got there's some rock that has a ton of uranium in it. Uranium. Bam, that's kryptonite. Uranium.
Yeah.
So you get some
I
uranium.
watched a movie, Superman Red Sun.
Oh, why?
It's a good movie.
Isn't that
It's the Soviet Russia.
Yeah,
yes.
It's where instead of landing in Kansas, he lands in Russia.
And basically, Batman somehow gets these lights that replicate the red sun, and he tricks him by using his good feelings against him, and he basically somehow kidnaps Wonder Woman and tricks him into a box full of the red lights to make him weak. And Batman just leaves him there and blows up all of Russia.
Oh my god. Wow. That's great. But so could you become Superman? Absolutely.
Yes.
Besides the frost breath, laser eyes, possible other things. Yeah. Superman. You could become Golden Age Superman if you just went to a different planet, which is becoming more and more possible. Every hour, honestly. Like, a lot of people say that it goes day by day or week by week or month by month. I would say that it goes hour by hour, because
every second, really. Infinitely granular.
If you want to go that deep. But I think there was some statistic released about how much progress is made how many calculations, because NASA has their Wi-Fi speed is 600 gigabytes per second or something insane
something
like that.
Like
Elon is rocking the same exact, probably even better than NASA internet speed.
Oh yeah, he is the second richest person now.
He is. Yes, he is.
Tell everyone that.
He's
He beats Bill Gates in wealth. Oh, what happened? His Wi-Fi?
Oh, no, he is going to be back, but because he left the call, I have to recenter you.
Oh.
Oh my god. On stream editing.
Yep. But yeah, so
Here, we'll put you here.
So
anyways, yeah. So I think that pretty much wraps up Superman. You probably couldn't get the laser eyes unless you got an eye augment thing that could shoot, which isn't hard, honestly, because that would,
I mean,
if you want like the big Bernie lasers, that's gonna be more difficult. But you could get like an infrared thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could see snipers using that because then they just have like infrared sight in one eye, and then they just like look with the other one.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's Superman.
Yeah.
All right, so next one.
Bad weather.
Bad weather.
And I will push us back
Bad weather. Fun character here.
Bad weather.
Another mutant, just like Wolverine. So this is an X-Men. For the X-Men comics and stuff and movies. Yeah, not a headband.
Yeah.
Bad weather, also known as Storm, controls the weather, so she can, make weather happen to their advantage. It's kind of convoluted if you think about it. I don't know why she's one of the main people, like why that's one of the main powers, but I think it comes in handy quite a few times in the movies where they're like, oh, like we need to go incognito, like we need some cover, right?
Yeah, and he's back, so now I have to resize it again.
Yep. Sorry. It's like, I'll make a fog roll in or something like that.
Jack really wanted me to ask the question he asked in chat, which is where all the characters of color. I said, Jack, look at the screen.
This is.
I mean, here you go.
We're talking about Storm. So, so Storm is able to control the weather. So, that's actually something that we can do right now, but it would violate the Geneva Convention.
It would.
So we won't do it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Weather machines and stuff.
Weather Control Geneva Convention. I think I gotta make sure. I know it's some convention. Maybe it's not actually the Geneva Convention, but it's a law of war. So Environmental Modification Convention. Formerly, the Convention on the Prohibition of Military or any other hostile use of environmental modification techniques is an international treaty. Oh, it was signed in Geneva. Okay.
Look at that.
So it is a Geneva Convention. It is open for, it was signed in like 1977 and 1978. So, and then there's a map of the signatories. So all of the African countries, well, not all of them, but a lot of them have not signed it. So we might get whether Mexico has not signed it. Zimmerman Telegram Part 2. Hey, Mexico, go like make it rain in America. I wonder why Mexico hasn't signed it. Anyway, all the major.
I think they have a few more
wait. France hasn't signed it. France hasn't signed it.
Okay, well, but France has like the climate.
He could be in this very room.
What are you doing, France? That's kind of concerning because France has a
reason to not like France.
France has a pretty big military compared to all the other countries that haven't signed this thing. So I do not know what France is doing. It's kind of concerning. I don't think we have to worry about France. France and Mexico will destroy us by weather.
Honestly.
There's a movie.
South Africa hasn't signed it. Yeah, this is concerning.
It's a little concerning.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia has not signed it. Here, wait, what does the yellow mean? These are nations in red. So non-signatory. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Anywho.
What this basically means is that it is possible if you go up in a plane and like drop a ton of like crystals or whatever, like particles into a cloud. It's called cloud seeding, and it causes it to rain because the water cycle, rain forms around droplets of dust. So if you add droplets of dust into a cloud, you will get more rain. And I think the US actually briefly used this in like Vietnam in order to increase the monsoon season, because Vietnam was before, 1977 was when this treaty was signed, so it was still legal. I think this treaty might have actually been in response to.
I was gonna say that actually before you started talking about it with the environmental stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So the U.S. was briefly experimented during the Vietnam War with increasing the monsoon season, which is, in that area of the world, you got the monsoon season and the dry season, and the monsoon season causes flood and a ton of infrastructural damage. So the U.S. figures if we make the monsoon season worse, it'll weaken our enemy because it'll damage their infrastructure. And so the U.S., goes up in their planes and make a ton of, rain cloud forms. And so every time
by rain.
Yeah, every time you watch an X-Men movie where Storm, does something with the weather, you can just think she is violating the Geneva Convention.
She is. And also, she delivered what might have been the best quote ever in any cinematic history. And anyone should know exactly what I'm talking about. But
I don't know. What's the quote?
Here we go. Here, I want to get the exact wording. I want to know the exact wording. I know exactly. Okay. I know what the end of it is.
All right.
Yes, this quote. It became a really big meme after she said it, and it has always stuck with me. Yeah, here it is. Storm says to Toad, "Do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else."
Wonderful writing.
The best quote I've ever heard.
Yeah,
got me shivering in my pants.
Yeah, this person deserves a Nobel Prize in literature.
Exactly.
Anyway, yeah, so Storm, it's like already possible. You just need a small plane. That's pretty accessible. Well, I mean, it's expensive, but like, in terms of machinery, right? Mm-hmm. A small plane in size relative to the human body, like, that's pretty cool. That's just like a car. So, like, hop in your car. If you could control the weather by hopping in your car, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That would be a pretty cool power. So, if you can hop in a small plane and know how to fly it, and are willing to violate the Geneva Convention, then you can control the weather. So, if it's, a sunny day and you're like, oh, I wish it was cloudy, then you're a jerk, but you can do that. I'm not sure if it works the other way around, though. Probably. I bet there's a way to do it, but we haven't been able to research it because that would violate the Geneva Convention. So
exactly.
That's the price we pay.
Screw the Geneva Convention. We could do it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder though, does the treaty bar you from like doing it internally? So if like there's a drought in California, I don't think there's anything stopping the U.S. government from saying we will enact this on our own land.
I don't know.
I think that's allowed.
I'm not sure.
I think it's allowed because it's not military action against another nation.
There was a movie made like in 2018 that was like the world came together after like the climate got really bad. And they built
Geostorm.
Geostorm, yeah.
I love that movie. It's really bad, but it's
horrible.
Like a funny
but like
movie. Geostorm. It's basically worse the day after tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just that's what it looked like. Yeah,
it's just a knockoff CGI version of The Day After Tomorrow, which is a good movie. Day After Tomorrow, but yeah.
Also, 2012.
Yeah, that too.
That was supposed to be like the end of the world, and then there was like, hey, boat.
Yeah. But yeah, Michael, if you had weather powers, what would you do with
lightning?
Lightning, thank you. Anyways, on to the next.
Yep.
I mean, that's what any of us would do. Like, what would it be? Like, that in snow days, you just would bam, snow day. Always.
Listen, if I had the power, if I could shoot lightning out of my fingers, I would be shocking people. Literally,
I would make it subtle. So
you would.
I would make it subtle so they don't actually notice, and so they just get like, ah.
No, it would be
sorry,
like
not my fault.
We would be in school, and I would be right behind someone, and every time they would reach for their pencil, I'd be like, so they would think that their pencil was like electrified.
Like sometimes touch someone and you get like shocked. So imagine that,
Yeah.
but you're like following someone. Every time they touch something, they get shocked.
That'd be
Oh
so
my
funny.
God. It's basically differential of
It's torture.
charges there, but yeah.
Or you could make
Oh,
someone
gosh.
else think that they themselves have the electricity powers. You could just
Oh, yeah.
gaslight them into doing that.
The torture.
Yeah. Or you could do like Avatar with the water spirit. You could sort of
Yeah.
help you and another person could work together and sort of make it look like they have the lightning
Yeah.
powers and stuff.
Exactly. You could try and redirect lightning, like do the Ben Franklin thing with the key, and then
Yes.
you
Yeah.
redirect lightning out. I don't know. But anyways, we're on Peculiar
Lightning bolt.
PhD.
Yes, peculiar PhD.
Also known
This
as
guy-
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he's able to warp realities with like, I don't know, fourth dimension or something.
Yeah, so he has access to all of the dimensions because he becomes Sorcerer Supreme, which is an actual title
Nice.
in the Marvel Universe. There are a bunch of Supremes. I know there's Scientist Supreme, and that was awarded to
Scientist Supreme.
Ant-Man, Dr. Hank Pym,
Okay.
for his Pym particles, which don't make any sense.
Yeah,
But
they kinda
The
don't.
pimp particle.
interesting point of information. Before it was Hank Pym, it was Leonardo da Vinci. He was Scientist Supreme in the Marvel Universe.
Nice.
But
Pretty cool.
yeah, so Doctor Strange, he is supposed to have access to like every dimension. He's the protector of Earth, and he's super well versed in magic and stuff like that. And honestly, the only scientific thing that we can do, because it is like a lot of
Oh my god,
magic.
wait, I just need to pause this.
Yeah.
Stop it, said in the chat, asterisk, Geneva suggestion.
Terrifying.
What is he gonna do? Oh no.
That is so terrifying.
I know.
Also from Scandinavia, I could violate the Geneva Convention. The Chicago.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
Anyways,
continue.
yeah,
I
You
just
guys
So-
got a lot of comments.
It's good interactions. But
Yeah.
Oh, we've been streaming for 100 minutes. 100 minutes time, baby.
it's 100 minutes time! Yay!
100 minutes, yay!
I need to get my guitar and play a chord.
Oh yeah, here, I'll get the sunglasses. 100 minutes. Oh yeah.
100 minutes, baby.
Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 100 minutes of this
Yep.
stream.
Yeah, that was very random. Anyway, so
No, the
Random.
100 minutes gets the famed G chord.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yep. Wonderful.
Back to Doctor Strange.
Back to Doctor
Yeah,
Strange.
so what does he do? He just folds the third dimension through the fourth dimension? That would be nice.
He uses the mirror dimension, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what it's called.
Oh yeah,
He can just lock people away in there.
fun. Pocket dimensions. Lock someone up in your pocket dimension.
That's basically what he does.
That sounds like a very like Rick
I think in his
Sanchez
It
first
is.
movie,
Yeah.
with the villains, he like locked them all away there. Or no, they all disintegrated.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
they
that's
all
the thing.
have
He has access to
works.
like every dimension, so like pocket dimensions, dark dimension, all that stuff. Like when he got his powers and he was like thrown through every dimension, like that sequence in the Doctor Strange
yeah.
movie, that's what that was.
Okay. Can he get to the Coraline pocket dimension?
Probably.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In that movie. And
I mean, what if Coraline is Sorcerer Supreme?
It's actually her the whole time.
Yep.
It was her the whole
Coraline.
time.
Coraline,
Uh,
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That's a theory.
But yeah, so I don't know. So gravity warps space-time. So when you have a very massive object, it bends space and time. So maybe if you have a massive enough object, you can sort of like pinch off a piece of space-time and then get like a little sphere of space-time, and that's your pocket dimension. So you can if you can build a little access tunnel to it,
mm-hmm.
and you can store stuff there. I would really like that. I think that's very, very high quality pocket dimension, because say you've got like a bag, you know, it has a limited volume, a limited carrying capacity. You can't like carry so much stuff in it. But if you have a bag with a pocket dimension in it, then you're pretty much Mary Poppins. You know, you can like pull.
Who is also Sorcerer Supreme.
Oh yeah, Mary Poppins has got to be Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah. We have some more chat from Missing Music.
Okay, more chat. Missing Music says, applause. I was so scared you'd say B flat.
No, I would not give the dreaded B flat chord at the 100-minute mark. That would be.
But the 104-minute mark, though.
But the 104-minute. No. No, I just want to give y'all just a calm G, just a very calm G, because that's it's the tune of the universe, man. It's the G chord.
Wow, how poetic.
Yeah, I like the G chord because I have massive fingers, and you need to like do the entire spread, and that's very easy.
Yep.
But anyways, go ahead.
Strange, he has the time stone, so he's able to like do time travel stuff. We talked a bit about that, but like I would say his is more akin to like he's able to reverse entropy, like with thermodynamics. So he takes like an apple core and then just sort of scrubs like on YouTube, you know, when you sort of do the scrub, he just sort of scrubs backward on the apple core and gets a full apple. That is called a violation of thermodynamics. So that's what the time stone is, a thing that can violate entropy in thermodynamics.
Yeah.
Because entropy is basically that in a closed system, everything will get more random, more disordered, and the universe is a closed system as far as we know. So you've got the entropic heat death of the universe is the theory of how the universe will end. But yeah, and the reason that, you know, say you are physically capable of making something more ordered is that I said a closed system. So when you do something like clean your room, while the room's entropy decreases, your entropy increases. So by cleaning your room, you are actually transferring into yourself and then into the environment around, so like into the universe. So that's how entropy works. You can have local decreases of entropy, but system-wide, you have to increase entropy. So maybe the time stone, you know, when he created that apple core, maybe somewhere on the other side of the planet, an apple just spontaneously just dissolved into dust. Like,
that'd be funny.
I think that would be interesting. If it didn't actually like regenerate the apple, it just took another apple from somewhere else. But no, later in the film, he bargains. He comes to bargain.
Dormammu.
And so, yeah, that wouldn't really add up. But yeah, that's an interesting hypothetical way a time stone could work within thermodynamics, is if it increases the entropy somewhere else. But yeah, otherwise it's just a violation of thermodynamics. So,
yeah. So yeah, I would say that out of the ones that we've talked about, probably the most out there, unless we get like dimensional technology, which would be cool. And then we could all be Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, it would be pretty honest.
If we're all Sorcerer Supreme, then no one is.
Anyways,
Syndrome's the name.
Exactly. Syndrome. Can we talk about Syndrome for like a split second?
Sure.
Because what fantastic writing that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Syndrome was probably one of the best villains of. I don't even know that era. That era. The era of Monsters Inc. Yeah, I would say it's the 2000s, but it doesn't fit too cleanly in there because of Toy Story.
Okay.
So like
late 90s,
1995 to 2009 maybe. Okay. That stretch of time. Just Syndrome. I like that.
I agree. I think he's a good villain.
Yeah. Anyways.
Very diabolical.
Oh, we gotta move. We gotta move down again. Venusian Woman Hunter.
So yeah.
This is obviously a play on Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, exactly.
We are not advocating a man from Venus to hunt down women, but Martian Manhunter, one of my favorites. He's on the Justice League or the Sense of Right Alliance.
Yes.
But he can shapeshift. That's his main thing. He also has psychic abilities. But I would say that shapeshifting, psychic abilities are his two main powers. Going through his weaknesses, he is weak to fire. That is his big thing. Right? I'm very certain that it is fire.
Yeah.
Even though that is, I love the quote where someone's like, their weakness is fire. And someone's like, yeah, that's everyone's weakness. It's fire. I think, is that Rick and Morty?
That's true.
It might be.
It might be. Except it might not have been fire. It might have been anything else. But that's everyone's weakness.
Yes, it is fire. His only he has an inherent fear of fire, which all Martians have. Also, all.
Oh, okay, that makes sense because on Mars,
it
is impossible to light a fire on Mars. Not enough oxygen.
There you go. So it would be very strange for him.
Yes.
Some would say Doctor Strange. Da-da-da-da-da. But anyways. So shapeshifting. Let's start off with that.
Yeah. So what are the limits? Can you shapeshift? Is it just like
animals, dude?
Or is it just literally anything?
His mass doesn't even remain constant. He can change himself into weighing 3 tons in like a blink of an eye. So he can he can alter his mass.
So I would say shapeshifting would be like an object composed of nanobots.
Yeah.
But like nano robot things like that were a sort of swarm.
Yeah.
And what they could do is like shapeshift essentially, except the mass would stay the same. So if you've got a programmable cloud of nanobots, I think that would be a pretty cool thing. So it's very efficient too because you've got the nanobots and it's like, I need a chair. So then you get a chair. But then the nanobots, you're like, okay, I'm done with the chair. Now I need something else. And then,
Hold on. Is it a Wolverine quote? I guess it's just a joke, or it might be from Robot Chicken, which is hysterical. Yeah. So they have just implemented that dialogue sequence into a lot of different things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess it's just an internet joke because I'm seeing it put in like a lot of things. It's like a Wolverine quote. This one is over here with Batman. So, a lot of stuff. But anyways. Yeah, nanobots, I would say that's probably as close as you can get, especially to account for the mass thing. Like a nanobots would just be added.
Yeah, they can also sort of assimilate things. So if you've got nanobots that are made out of iron and you suddenly need more nanobots, then you can say to the nanobots, go find some iron. And then they'll go to the nearest, they'll just take all your silverware and just freaking assimilate it. Or if they know that there's an iron deposit underground, then they can mine it up and that would be better. But
that, and if you just take it down on a very simple level, just changing colors, chameleons can do that. Chameleon DNA, just inject it in yourself. Nothing bad will happen.
Nothing bad will happen. Well, because it's basically the scales, right? Because the scales sort of flip-flop around. So it's like you've got... So that's interesting. That's more like Mystique, that character.
That is, yeah.
The blue one from X-Men. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. But his other power, psychic abilities. He has very, very good psychic abilities.
So there are a few ways I can think of.
I was thinking of just connected chips in the brain. That's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, but that requires a willing participant.
It does.
I was thinking an interesting sort of approximation is I just started reading Dune, and Paul isn't exactly psychic, but he can sort of, if you're lying to him, he can tell because he has the Bene Gesserit training, partially kind of that's what his mom does. This is from the book Dune, so read the book Dune.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because he's basically very observant. Like he's able to like notice every small detail in things, and he's also able to like do a lot of calculations. So that helps him essentially predict the future. But I think that you could sort of like the Bene Gesserits are essentially psychic. I mean, you've got the truth sayer, so they're able to tell if you're lying to them. They can say you're lying. Your real motivation is this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was always what fascinated me, is that every time they have a conversation in that book, there's two conversations happening. Yeah. There's what they're saying, and then there's how they're acting, and because they would be like, and it gets so good to the point of, the book almost teaches you how to like look for it, because like in the early pages they're like and his eyes like fluttered away, or like and he was standing at an 86-degree angle towards the person, and then Paul is there and he's like, and that means that their favorite color is maroon, you know. And but
they
then
must be exiled.
But then later on in the book, it's like, and then they were like, they had one of their feet in shadows, and you're like,
Oh, I know what that means.
Exactly.
Nice.
So it's just the minutia of that book is, I can go on and on. But yeah, anyways. I think that's a pretty good idea for Martian Manhunter, just to learn all that stuff, to be psychic.
Exactly. Another way you could theoretically do it, I guess they always say brain waves, but I feel like brain waves are a very pop sci thing.
Yeah.
That, like, aren't actually what they're cracked up to be. But theoretically, if you have someone hooked up in like one of those electrode machines where every single like point on their head has an electrode, then it sort of gives out information, because someone was able to sort of play a video game with their mind. It was very simple. It was literally just your characters move. It's basically the T-Rex game when your internet goes down. So you're moving at a constant speed, and you have to avoid obstacles by going up or down. And so the controls, where you had a ton of electrodes on someone's head, and they were just able to think like, go up, go down, go up, go down, and were able to play the game. So I don't know, if you were able to detect whatever waves the brain is giving off, that could possibly be psychic power, but I prefer the Dune method because I think it's a lot cooler.
Yeah.
The other method is just sort of like, whatever, I can read brain waves. It's just very just pop sci, like whatever. But Dune has got the perfect, like, very, like, its subtlety, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Because it's not like all encompassing, you know, because it doesn't make them OP, but they're like, oh, I think you're lying to me.
Exactly.
And it's great because sometimes they'll just ask a question and you'll be like, what is that question about? And then they'll answer the question in like the one of 100 interpretations that, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, if someone were to just go up to you and ask, where is it? You would be like, what? I have no idea. But because Paul and his mother are both like because the mother is Bene Gesserit, but then Paul is like, you know, not exactly, but But the mom's able to just ask him like, where is it? I forget what exactly the question was, but there was this one little piece of dialogue where she's like, where is it? And I'm like, what is she talking about? And then Paul's just like, oh yeah, it's right over there. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're psychics essentially. That's cool. So yeah, that's Venusian
Woman Hunter.
So finally, our last superhero.
And we can. I'm gonna have to bring us.
No, we're not the last superhero yet.
Down here. Oh yeah, we're not at the last superhero.
Yeah, these are the second to last slides.
All right, now I am in the bottom left corner, and Max, you're at the top right.
All right, that is acceptable. Okay, so we've got being rich. I think that is the best superpower of them all in this episode, because being rich allows you to accomplish all the other things listed here. You want to, you know, go to the moon to be stronger? Bam, Elon Musk. He's rich. You can do that.
You can do modification.
I don't know, you want genetic modification? If you're rich, you can probably get that. Weather control, I mean, you know, all you got to do is pay off a few people in Geneva, and then you're good, you know? So being rich is the ultimate superpower, and you've got Batman and Iron Man are the two.
Yeah, honestly, both of their they're both billionaires. They both have massive tech companies.
Yep.
Batman runs the conglomerate Wayne Enterprises, and obviously Tony Stark. Iron Man runs Stark Enterprises. I think that's the official. I think they're both enterprises.
Okay.
Or no, Stark Industries. Stark Industries and Wayne Enterprise. Yeah. That's what it is. But obviously, both very rich. I think Tony Stark is richer than Batman. I know Black Panther.
What a savage.
I know Black Panther is the richest because he just owns all of Wakanda.
Yes, and he's got all the
vibranium. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Batman versus Iron Man. Money.
Net worth.
Yeah. Iron Man or Batman richer? Let's see. Apparently Forbes did an article.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Tony Stark edges out Batman by a little bit.
Okay.
And T'Challa, aka Black Panther, is the richest, not only the richest superhero, but also one of the richest and wealthiest fictional characters of all time, with a net worth of about $90.7 trillion. With a T. $trillion.
Wait, I wonder what is Mansa Musa's net worth adjusted for inflation? Because I know he's the richest guy ever. Like King of Mali, I think.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Inflation. So, it's 400 billion.
Nice.
So, inflation adjusted net worth is 400 billion. So yeah, that's less.
But
like more than anyone currently alive. So
yeah,
tops John D. Rockefeller's inflation adjusted 340 billion, and Andrew Carnegie's 310 billion. So this guy was alive in the 1300s.
Yeah, the GDP of Earth is almost $86 trillion.
Wow.
So, just another Earth.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's like more than the Earth's GDP.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
But yeah, anyways, being rich, it can get you what you want, it can get you what you need, and
yes. Yeah.
The only issues with it are the weight of what you have to carry around with what you achieve to get that wealth, because that's with both Batman and Iron Man.
That's
Batman
true.
Finds out that
they're both orphans essentially.
Yeah. Batman finds out that the Waynes were kind of corrupt and had to do business with evil people, and so he realizes that his enterprise has been built on crime, the one thing he despises.
He hates crime.
And Tony Stark got his money from turning his industries that were from his parents into a weapons program that he just sold out to the military. And then he eventually realizes that maybe it's not good.
Yep. Well, yeah, I remember in the first movie, it's just he sort of doesn't really know or care. It's more like his second in command guy, his advisor, just does all the deals for him in the first Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I just like to tinker with stuff.
Yeah.
And his guy's like, okay, I'll handle the transactions for you. And then he just sells everything to the U.S. military. But then Iron Man himself, I really like Iron Man as a character. He gets like captured by terrorists, and they were using his own weapons, and he's like, what? I didn't authorize this. And then the second in command guy is like, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah. So then he's like, he's also, both of these characters are also very smart.
Yeah.
So I guess it's being rich and smart, because they know how to, like, Iron Man sort of builds his own suit, and that requires, I guess, both the smarts and the just money to be able to do 100 tests of like various rocket boosters. So yeah. Anyway, that's the last superpower, or well, the second to last. Shall we move on to the last slide?
We shall.
We shall.
Reveal.
Michael McCarthy, aka Jam, aka Hunger Steve, has COVID.
Hashtag
I have
exposed.
COVID. I had
Michael
COVID.
McCarthy has COVID. So, Michael,
COVID.
you were infected with COVID how long ago?
Last week.
Last week. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? This man is a pillar of infectivity.
Yes. Which is why we're not anywhere near him.
Exactly. Matt, this is the reason why Max moved to Florida.
Yeah, exactly. I knew he would get COVID before COVID even existed. I knew, oh my gosh, Michael's gonna come down with some rare disease. Well, not rare anymore. Some new disease. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here before it's too late. So yeah.
I gotta get out of here.
And as soon as it came, it was gone.
Yes. So, Michael, tell us about the superpowers you got from COVID.
I got really hungry.
He got really hungry.
And tired.
And
while my family
tired.
was suffering with fevers and headaches.
Yeah.
I got hungry.
And this is
a
your
little
origin
tired.
story. This is how you became a Hunger Steve.
I'm
This
a
is how
villain. You see, I steal people's food.
He steals people's food because Michael was laying there in his bed, and the ailments and all of the fever and the nausea and his hunger kept growing until he had eaten all the food in his house. And then he breaks into his neighbor's house and just starts shoveling plates of lasagna into his face like some macabre version of Garfield. And then he raided a supermarket. He goes to his place of work, McDonald's, and he raids that as well until nothing can satisfy him. This is the legend of Hunger Steve, and he comes after you if you don't file your taxes.
He causes the famine of 2021
Exactly.
just because he eats everything.
Anytime, instead of your parents being like, "Oh, you gotta finish the food on your plate," there are kids in Africa that don't get that. Now they're gonna be like, "You gotta finish your food on the plate, or else fucking Hunger Steve is gonna come after us."
Exactly. So,
Be warned,
Michael,
ladies and gentlemen.
What has the experience been like? Because, so this isn't very scientific. This is just an anecdote, you know. There's scientific evidence or whatever, but we thought it would be interesting for someone to tell us about their COVID experience. So, what was it like for you, Michael?
I didn't get my paycheck last week. A little upset.
You didn't get the Paycheck Protection Program? Isn't that I don't know.
So probably
Isn't that? Oh, okay. I thought there's COVID things.
Okay,
that
on
they
a
did.
serious note though,
Yeah.
I was out to dinner with my dad, and my mom called, and she was like, "You guys should come home now. Your steppa has a fever." So we came home. Everyone got tested, but me, because I didn't want to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. And turns out they're all getting sick at the same time, and then my stepdad was positive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, huh. Next day, after everyone else is sick, I got a headache, and then I got really hungry. So I start eating, and I see everyone else is getting mad at each other because they're all getting really bad headaches. They're all getting sick, and I'm sitting here like, where's the food? Because I ate all the food, and I'm still eating now.
Nice.
His hunger does not stop. Hunger Steve.
It's almost like every
epitome
few
of
hours
gluttony.
I get hungry again. It's crazy.
Damn.
Well, it's your immune system requires resources.
Yes.
It needs more troops.
We require additional pylons.
Anyways,
Exactly.
moving on. One by one, everyone stopped getting sick, and I got sick. I didn't get sick first. That way.
Yeah, so obviously COVID isn't anything to well, it is kind of there to joke about.
Listen,
like we
my
always have
family
to
got
make
lucky.
light of situations.
Yeah.
But
My
yeah,
family
Mike
got lucky.
and his family, they're all good, and they did get lucky. Like no one was seriously ill or
The worst we got was a headache.
Headaches.
And maybe a 101-degree fever from a few family members, but not me.
Damn.
Highest I
that's
got
pretty
was
intense.
99.
Nice.
Nice.
And that was after headphones were on for 6 hours.
Yeah, that's the headphone bird. Fries your brain.
But
anyways, if you're a kid, don't worry. There's like a 0.03% chance of being sent to the hospital, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
just
I know
stay
that.
protected. Is the
wear a mask.
Or else, yes, you will feel the hunger of hunger steam.
If you're in a big group of people, don't bother wearing a mask. It's not going to help you.
I don't know about that.
I don't know either. Maybe. I'm not a doctor.
He's
but
not a doctor.
I'm
he's a supervillain. He is a priest.
he's a priest. So.
I'm a super vet.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, it's whatever.
But yeah.
But no,
I
it's
just thought
just.
it would be interesting.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's cool. And now Michael is an official super-powered individual.
Yes, he is a benevolent fictional character who possesses, I forgot the full thing, who possesses talents that are beyond the natural scope of human capabilities. So,
yes.
Mike, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. People everywhere will starve. And so, if everyone's starving, then no one is.
That should be the motto of the soap.
Yes. If everyone's starving, nobody is. Oh my god, that's so good. But anyway, yeah, I think that leads us right into the final thoughts. It's been a great episode. Talked about how science and fiction are not as far off as people think. And science, and that's the great thing about science fiction, is that not necessarily does science inspire fiction, and not necessarily does fiction inspire science, but there have been instances of both, where a fictional thing has been written, and then we're like, hey, can we do that in science? And then we actually find out that, oh, this works like that. And then, of course, the larger one is that science affects fiction. When, like, think of all the 1950s artwork we were showing, or style artwork that we were showing last episode that was inspired by the space race and all that good stuff.
It's funny, though. They had, like, Zoom, essentially, in 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. The bottom line is the best way to get superpowers is make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's probably the best. So this episode is also in honor of Elon Musk.
In honor of Elon Musk getting second place.
Ranking. That's pretty cool. He surpassed Bill Gates, which is
coming for Jeff Bezos.
At one point, yes, exactly. Bill Gates was at one point the richest man on earth. So he has.
Well, growing up, it was always Bill Gates.
It was always Bill Gates. You would always say like, "Oh, they're as rich as Bill Gates," like to say hyperbolically that they're very rich, and so Elon Musk has now surpassed
and I think it's shifted pretty nicely into now you can say, oh, he's like Bezos rich, instead of saying he's Gates rich.
I actually looked it up. Did you know about the guy like Carlos something or other, like the intermediary guy? No one ever. I don't even remember his name. No one knows who this guy is.
What?
I don't know why no one. Okay, here, wait. I'm getting it up.
Okay.
Okay. So the richest person in the world, I think it's from here we go. Richest person in the world in 2009 is Bill Gates, okay?
Yes.
2010 to 2013, Carlos Slim Helú. And then 2014 to 2017, Bill Gates again.
What?
And then 2018 to 2020, Jeff Bezos. Who is this man?
Wait, what year? What year did you say?
2010 to 2013, Carlos Slim Helú had a net worth between 53 billion and 73 billion.
Yeah.
He's the richest man alive.
Wait, you're right.
This period of time was remarkable in the fact that for the third year in a row, there was a new richest man in the world. This time, it was the richest man in Mexico, Carlos Slim Helú, who booted Bill Gates out of the top spot. Slim holds a 57% stake in the mobile phone giant América Móvil. He also holds large stakes in the banking and insurance company Grupo Financiero Inbursa and holding company Grupo Carso, and other stakes in companies including Minera Frisco and the New York Times. Okay, so this guy...
So he just invested.
I guess. But yeah, no one
Yeah, he has a net worth currently of $50 billion.
What's his rank? What place is he in
Oh,
now?
currently?
Yeah.
Richest people in the world. He's probably not even on the top 10 list. If he's only at 50,
Probably not.
here the
Only
world's billionaires. Yeah. Oh, okay. Bloomberg has 48 billion, so he's
like Bloomberg.
Okay.
He's
What
above
place is he in?
Bloomberg. So that's 16.
Okay.
If this could give me a
Former mayor of New York who ran for president in 2020 and got crushed.
number 12 in the world.
All right.
Yeah.
Carlos
Not in the top 10.
And family.
And family.
Yep. And family.
Of course.
But yeah, so the richest people right now, you've got. Oh, Forbes is behind. They still have Bill Gates above. Whoa. Oh, this is from. Okay. This is from a long time ago. Then I don't know why.
Yeah. This Forbes thing is pretty old. This is from March.
Elon has like skyrocketed, I must say.
Yeah.
Well,
did you know what that guy, some 25-year-old became a billionaire overnight, like a few nights ago? His new
25.
company, or he like made a company at like 17, called like Nvidia. No, not Nvidia, like Illuminate or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
Damn.
Self-driving cars or something.
That's crazy.
Like, immediately, overnight, he became a billionaire.
That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah. From
all you
March...
gotta do, hop over to r/Wall Street Bets.
Stop it in chat, says Carlos, of course.
Okay, so he's friends with Carlos.
He's friends with Carlos.
Okay. Maybe that's where he first acquired his time powers. Maybe Carlos was funding a secret science research facility in order to figure out how to develop time powers.
Yeah. But anyways, from
Bloomberg campaign.
From March 18th, 2020 to whenever he crossed over, like either yesterday or the day before, he went from 31st, ranked number 31, with a net worth of $24.6 billion.
Yep.
So in like 9 months.
Yeah. He more than he pentupled his wealth by a factor of 5. This man, he is absolute legend.
He is the goal.
The only reason, complete total role model, honestly. But the only reason he hasn't beaten Bezos is that COVID helped out Amazon because everyone's buying more from Amazon now. So Bezos is at 183 billion now. I remember at the beginning of the year he was maybe 130 billion. So he's made good. He's recovered from the divorce. I remember he got divorced and it cost like $25 billion to get divorced. Most expensive divorce in history, probably. And so he's recovered. He's almost at 200 billion. He would be at 200 billion if he hadn't gotten divorced. So that's really interesting. We've got very rich people. So yeah, Elon Musk, very cool person. I'm wearing all his. I've got all the
merch
right here. I've got all of my merchandise that I own. I'm wearing Dragon hat, SpaceX hoodie, and Occupy Mars T-shirt. So, Anyway. Oh yes, Elon Musk is essentially Iron Man, I would say.
He is, yeah.
If Iron Man was alive and like people didn't know who it was, I would be like, oh, it's gotta be Elon Musk.
It's gotta be Elon Musk.
I'm like, he is the Tony Stark.
Elon.
But anyway.
Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Mike, if you have anything else to say, say it now or forever hold your peace.
I'm gonna hold my peace, don't worry.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for participating in the chat. Everyone that participated in the chat, we love to talk to you guys. Yes, all the people in the chat. So yeah, and thank you, Michael, for being our guest today. In spite of your illness, thank you for coming on the show, even though you're sick. And thank you, Sebastian, for being my co-host as always.
Of course. Should I send him out on a guitar chord?
Oh yeah, let's do a guitar chord.
All right. So we started on a G. I'm gonna send you guys off on a D.
Nice.
I don't have my pick, but it should do nicely.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna stand because I don't want to readjust myself. Let me see.
Yep.
And thank you for tuning in.